Lydia James was 16 years old when she ran away from home. Her and her father had argued, and as 16 years old sometimes do, Lydia thought that her dad didn't care about her or what made her happy. So she quickly and sloppily packed her backpack with the things she'd need: a pair of jeans, extra underwear, her cell phone, a hairbrush, maybe some lunch meat from her fridge, and since there was a decent-sized chunk of her favorite cheese in there, she took that too. 2 water bottles. Then she was on her way. She had no idea where she was going or what she was going to do when she got there. All that Lydia knew was that she was going to go live her dreams, somewhere and somehow. She could do it. She was smart, got good grades in school. She was pretty enough, with brown hair, freckle-kissed cheeks, blue eyes, like her daddy's. Everyone was always pointing that out. She hated it. Her and her daddy couldn't be more opposite. She was an artist who wanted to live life on the road and write about her adventures. Her dad was a stern lawyer who never seemed to enjoy life at all. As soon as she got onto a busy road, she put out her thumb. She guessed that's how one would hitchhike. She'd seen it once in a movie and supposed that would still work today. Before long, a shiny black Camaro slowed down and pulled over. She ran up to it, and a young man rolled down the window. "Hey, where are you headed?" I'm not real sure yet. Where are you going?" "Oh, not too far, just about 50 miles off the road." "Well, is it okay if I ride with you?" she asked, feeling so fearless today. "Sure thing. Hop on in." The man was probably 20 years old, she thought. She was looking him right up and down. She did not want to be riding with a kidnapper or a serial killer after all. Slim build, blonde hair, a cheesy mustache, blue eyes. He was wearing a band t-shirt, something like Quiet Riot. Must be some indie band, she thought. "Thank you, sir. What's your name?" "Most people call me PJ. You?" "Lydia." "Lydia, huh? That's pretty. It was my mother's name, too." "Weird," she replied. "It was my grandma's name, too." "So what's got you out here hitching a ride today, Lydia?" "Oh, my God. My daddy. I can't take it anymore." "A real jerk, huh?" "Yeah, well, kind of. He's the type of dad who's always too busy because of work. Doesn't really give a shit about me unless I get a say or something. Had a fight today, so I decided, screw it, I'll leave." "Wow, that must have been a doozy of a fight." "Same shit, different day, really. He wants me to be a lawyer like him. Says it's a stable job, yada, yada, yada. But I want to write. I'd love to write." "He doesn't think you should?" "No. He says it's a childish dream, that I'll be poor and living from hand to mouth, and that's if I can even get a job, blah, blah, blah." "Well, what about you? What do you want to write?" "Books," she said excitedly. "I love reading. I want to write books about my travels. I am going to travel the world someday." "Maybe this will be the first day of your travels, then. Want to hit me up with a footnote as being your first ride?" "Sure thing," she laughed. My dad was a lot like your dad sounds. I bet he just wants what's best for you." "Yeah, that's what he says, but I do too. I want to be happy. Being a lawyer, that would definitely not make me happy. It sure doesn't seem to make him happy. He works all the time. He skips all my choir concerts, my birthdays, sports. I'm like, what is the point if you're miserable and you make everyone around you miserable too? What kind of life is that?" "Yeah, that sounds logical to me. If I ever have kids, I hope I'll do things differently than my dad did, but if I don't, I'd hope that at some point I'd realize that I'd be lucky to have a kid like you. I hope that one day I'd be able to tell her how much she is loved, and that I do want her to be happy and follow her dreams, even if her dreams weren't my dreams for her." He looked sad. Lydia couldn't tell anymore if he was still talking about his own dad. I'm sure you'll be a great dad, she said to try and cheer him up. I might make mistakes. Well, yeah, sure. But doesn't everybody? I guess. But I'd worry that my daughter wouldn't know that she was the brightest star in the sky. You'd have to show her and tell her, that's all. I'd hope that she'd hear me when I did. I bet your dad wants you to be happy, Lydia. You should go right. You should do what your heart wants. Your dad'll come around, believe me. You think so? Definitely. He'd be really proud of you. I know that I would be if I were your daddy. Thanks, PJ. Looks like we're here, Lydia. You gonna be all right? Yeah, I'll probably just call my mama. All right, well, I'll wait while you do. Lydia got out of the car. She took her phone from her backpack, and as she did, it rang, and it was her mother. Lydia, where are you, my baby? I need you to come home. Mama, what's wrong? Sweetie, your daddy has passed away. Lydia fell to the ground to weep. She told her mother where she was, and her mama was sending an uncle to come pick her up. PJ, I have to go, she said as she turned around, but he'd already left. 3 days later, they were preparing for her father's funeral, and when her mama began unwrapping a framed photo, Lydia took it from her hands and saw a man standing in front of a black 1968 Camaro. Mama, who is this? Lydia, it's your daddy. Phil was so proud of that damn car. He sold it to help pay for law school. Took me on our first date in it. Just about killed him to have to part with it. Philip James. PJ. It was him in this photo. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an excerpt from my latest book, My Travels with My Dad. Thank you for coming, and I'll be signing your copies just over here. A large line formed, but out of the corner of her eye she saw a man, PJ, and when their eyes met, he winked at her. She stood up quickly, but he was gone.